Looks great. And tastes even better. Hello to all of my vegan food lovers. I hope you are doing fantastic today. I am going to show you guys how to make fried tofu. I've already got some tofu prepared here and I cut it in half. What you want is an extra firm or super firm tofu so that a lot of the water is already taken out. But then you'll simply take a paper towel, tap it around. I already did this once with the paper towel to get out any more excess water. You can see this is a little wet, but I already got some water out before. Then what you want to do is go ahead and cut your tofu in half. So it was once this big. And what we're simply going to do is still stack them on top of each other, but we are just going to cut it into bite sizes, and they don't all have to be so even. Cut the opposite direction now. And you're just gonna toss all of these into a bowl. I'm going to advise you to get you guys some potato starch. It's absolutely wonderful, but if you don't have it, you can use cornstarch. I just find that potato starch works better. So all you're going to do is take some potato starch. I can't necessarily tell you how much, but you're going to pour it into your bowl of tofu and just mix it all up so you can try to get them as coated as possible. And of course you don't have to get every single last inch of them covered, but you want a nice amount of them covered, okay? Now that we have done that, we can actually go ahead to the next step. All right, you guys, so the next step is to get you a skillet, put some oil on it. I'm just using olive oil, and allow it to get to like a medium heat. And then you are simply going to place your tofu on the stove. And friendly warning, you guys do not want your tofu to touch because it will stick together. It's highly annoying, actually. I know what you're thinking. She just put that stuff on the stove and did not put any seasoning on it. Hear me out, okay? That's simply because we are actually putting the tofu in a special sauce. At least I'm making chow mein with some kangpung tofu. So when you're dipping your tofu in a sauce, you really don't need to season it. You can, but it's not necessary. As long as your sauce is very flavorful, you actually don't need to season your tofu. Now, if you aren't dipping your tofu in some kind of sauce and you're just eating it like this, then yes, of course, you want to make sure not only do you add potato starch, but that you also season it before you put it on the stove. Okay, so basically you want to cook the tofu on each side, or as many sides as possible, to get them browned. Yeah. You're gonna have to flip them one by one. Seems tedious, but it is necessary. I just want to take a second to show you guys exactly what I mean by crisping up the tofu. So you see these pieces right here on this side, they are like a nice light crispy brown compared to the rest where you can see it's still white because they haven't been cooked yet. This is the look that you're going for on every side of your tofu. So for any of your tofu that happens to be done like before the rest of them, I would go ahead and take them and sit them on a plate with paper towels on it just to get out any of that extra oil. And then this way, if you have any extra tofu that hasn't been put on yet, you can actually start replacing it in the spots where you take your tofu off. Alright you guys, so all of my tofu has been cooked. Doesn't it look so lovely? Let me see if I can let you guys hear a little crunch from one. I'm gonna take this one. You hear that? Very, very crunchy. So now I'm actually about to put it in my sauce. I created a thick sauce that has cornstarch in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the stove and just cook it for a second so it can thicken up a bit. Now if you end up cooking your sauce on the stove like I am, like if it has cornstarch or potato starch in it, when you do put the tofu in, you don't want to cook it for too long, otherwise you'll basically undo all the hard, tedious, laborious work you did by making the tofu crispy. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my tofu in there. Start mixing it in a bit. I'm definitely going to change the device I am using. I've also got onions. Just gonna throw a little bit in there. All of this is not necessary for your fried tofu. But like I said, I am making something specific. I just wanted to show you guys how to fry tofu. I'm also gonna put it on low heat so it's not cooking too much. Sesame seeds. I'm just gonna scoop some of it out. Okay, so here we have our fried tofu. Looks great. And tastes even better. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm gonna put the recipe for the sauce below. But this is done. That's it. So I hope you guys have a magnificent day. And remember, the kitchen is one of the places where you can be the most creative.